I almost said it again. Good morning. Whatever. Hey, whatever time it is. There's Australians in here. It is morning. So, hey, welcome. I'm so glad to see everybody. I am your proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business Community, Mike Asherbranner, and I am here with a dear hound and friend of mine, Jen Lind. How are you today?
I am doing wonderful, and I'm so glad to be here with you and all of you in the audience. It's so great to have each of you here.
Yay. And
Yeah.
hey, do us a favor. Who's in the audience? Wow.
We've got
Nobody's supposed to like.
Jason and Kurt and Russ. We've got from Tennessee and Ohio and Salem, Oregon. We're already like all the way around the United States. How exciting is that?
Oh my goodness. It is. Jason, he's more country than me. So now we have six country people in the hounds. Yeah, y'all don't understand that. People no, more like New York City, LA. Like, there was very few rednecks in the hounds. And now we're getting a couple of them. So we're getting there. Curtis, my friend. Kurt, good to see you. Oh
Oh,
look, Kelly. Oh
yes.
wow. Man, this is good. I don't know. Did y'all tell him I was giving out free McDonald's coupons or something? Why is everybody here so soon? Is that your fault?
It's me. It's
Uh,
me.
That's what it is. They said they knew you were coming. They're like, well, we'll show up early. All right. So, hey, let's do this because you don't even know about this. Watch this. Thanks to Dr. Neutromm. She is, our kindness queen, and she introduced me to Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith is a very, very interesting guy, and so happy to have him here. But I had to give him a shout out, and I'm glad people are here when I'm doing it. So I got to tell this story. All right, this guy was in finance. Right, he still is in finance. He has a team. He's a CEO. He runs a big business. Great man. But something happened. And it derailed. It changed his life. Now he is absolutely consumed with this organization that he started called Kindness Worldwide. And so I got to read this. I know I hate to read, especially out loud on public, but I got to, man, because this is really the heart of the hounds, the ladies and the people who are here today to share their story and go through this to help others. I mean, that's what we're all about. So let me read this. Kindness Worldwide. After a Good Samaritan woman returned his wallet moments after it was lost on Good Friday, Kevin Smith did not think a mere thank you was enough. She literally went the extra mile for him, and he figuratively wanted to go the extra mile for her. He impulsively emailed the local news, which subsequently aired an uplifting story that quickly spread nationwide. Knowing only the Good Samaritan's first name, Kevin wondered if she was even aware of the positivity her kind act had inspired. A long shot Facebook search connected. A long shot Facebook search connected when a profile picture of a young woman and her dog resonated. Soon, Inside Edition, television's top-rated long-running news program, planned to run a story in which the Good Samaritan would be publicly acknowledged. The story never aired, which compelled Kevin to pursue other paths to ensure she ultimately would be. Thus began an unexpected adventure of a lifetime, leading to a fascinating connection with the York County SPCA based on the Good Samaritan's truth. A comment, pets are the glue that bond people and communities together, subsequently led to an even broader connection that will bring multiple communities and peoples together in broad celebration of Kindness Week, showcasing the true character and inherent goodness they possess. The true spirit of Kindness Week reminds us that no act of kindness is too small to make a meaningful difference, and that everyone has the power to make lasting positive impact through kind actions. Go ahead, Jen Lynn.
I think that's really beautiful. What would you like me to do here? You said, "Go ahead, Jinlin." With what?
Oh, I thought you were gonna get some tambourines or some pot and pans and go woohoo kindness, but you had a
I
big one,
got
man. I get it.
bubbles. I got bubbles. Right? Like that's I got one. Right? And I think no, I think that that's I love
I,
that. Um,
I got
go ahead.
toilet paper. I don't have bubbles. And see, what show did you come on today? All right, I ran out of Kleenex.
I got Kleenexes. I got a whole box. So I'm not. We're not. We're in tuned here. We're in tuned.
Well, if my guests still stayed, then they're as crazy as me, so that's okay. Because, yeah, not all of them are used to me. All right, so I tell you what, I wanted everybody to know, plug into that, scan the QR code. This was like PB and J when they put it in the jar for the first time. I was like, how could we not be excited about this? This is who we are, right? This is amazing. This guy just started chasing a rabbit trail. Now there's cops are giving out kindness citations. It's crazy.
Oh,
The governors
yeah.
are all getting involved.
That's
Lithuania. I
amazing.
mean, it's an unbelievable. Oh, it's going everywhere, right? And
It's
I
the
just,
beautiful
it's
thing about kindness, right? It just
yeah,
sends out that kind of ripple, and I think that that's really, incredible, and like you said, how could we not? How could you not? It's exciting.
yeah. Absolutely. So anyway, hey, all these kind people in there. I know. Look, oh, brother love Oli's in here. How about we go ahead and run this intro? We got a packed show. I want to keep people. Let you go by midnight. How about that? Let's do it. Let's roll the intro.
Do it.
If I could find the daggone button. That's why Jen Lynn's here. Save me. So that way people laughing with me and not
I'm
at me.
not doing much saving today, though. I'm like, what? I don't know.
Hey, that's how we learn. Courage before confidence. Let's go.
Are you looking to grow your network and your net worth with other high-level, heart-centered professionals? Then grab a seat and your favorite beverage and join Mike Asherbranner, the Redneck Connector. It's time for the Hounds of Business Community Happy Hour.
All right. Hey, thank you all for being here. And this is very timely because, again, we're doing things about cancer survival and survivorship and the support that the families, not just the patients, need. And our very own, our good friend to almost everybody on LinkedIn in the world, and love having him in the pack. We wanted to give back. All right. So, in fact, he is here today. He is a trooper and a great guy. So, we wanted to take a few minutes to talk to Russ. Um, but Russ is always supporting other people, always pushing people up, and always giving more than anybody I know. And so we had to give back to Russ. Um, he has posted about this, and I'm going to bring him up in a second. But his cancer came back. So anybody who has loved ones or friends or went through cancer understand, what that means. I mean, life's hard enough, and then you throw that in there. But he did not want to give up. He wants to go to this event. He wants to support others, even though he's going through it himself. So we want to honor that. We want to make sure that if anybody feels compelled to donate to help get Russ out here, this is how to do it. Several of us have already done it. You can share it if you can't afford, and or if it's not a good time for that. You can share it with others who want to be a part of that as well. Because anybody who's been affected by cancer at all understands, like it does take a village, or it's very much appreciated. So I want to bring him up. All right, this guy, heart of gold, Mr. Russ, man, how are you?
Hey, hey, I wanted to show you my be kind sign. And, it's interesting because the conference that I'm going to be speaking at, Tim Sohn, Perspectives on Cancer, and then Andrea Sanchez is kind of his sidekick. And she had her own Be Kind conference in New York in the same place where this year's conference, last year was in Scranton, Ohio. This year we're in Manhattan. And she sent a sign and a couple goodies for me through my little sis, Dr. Nupi Aurora, who came out from England to see me. She stopped over in New York last year and did a keynote. Then she popped over here. And when you were talking about kindness and that whole thing, it made me think of this because this is a reminder to me every day to be kind to people and just love people. I mean, everybody, the world needs a little bit more kindness today, I think.
Well, brother, people can talk and do, but you're doing this, all right? And so let me ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
What motivates you to help others while you're trying to help yourself? What is it that you said, hey, I could give up on this. I have every reason in the world. But what is it that makes you want to go out there so bad and to help people?
Well, number one is God in my life. I am a strong man of faith, and I just feel like God's given me my wire purpose, which is to inspire and encourage people in the midst of challenges and problems in life, to show them that there's hope, that there's a place to move to, a place to go. You don't have to stand still and isolate yourself and just be in this place of fear and negativity, right? And so I'm just so thankful to have the opportunity to be able to do that. I do, as you know, Mike, I do just a little bit of live streaming and things that I'm able to reach out and be able to be a blessing to others. At the same time, a lot of times I'm just so blessed by my guests and things that I do. But I really feel like that's number one. Number two, though, is because I'm always thinking that, when I stack up the bad things in my life, sure, I have cancer and it's not a pretty outlook. Having stage 4 cancer is not a pretty outlook. But you know what? There's so many people that have it worse than I do that are going through things that need that lift up, that need that little encouragement. So that inspires me. It makes me feel good to be able to help others and do what I can, whether, it's a little financial for somebody or it's a little bit of encouragement, whatever it might be. And I'm just thankful for the ability to be able to do that.
Absolutely, and Tim Schoen, man, he's a trooper. I have the pleasure of getting to know him lately, and what a positive guy, man. I get a paperclip, it could screw up my day, and what you guys go through, and to be able to smile, no, you can't fake that. That's inner growth, buddy. So, um, what? Tell us a little bit about this event, real quick.
Well, Perspectives on Cancer is an organization. They have live streams. In fact, they have one coming on here in an hour, but they just have something that started out of Tim's cancer journey. And he's actually going through a similar journey in the fact that he had blood cancer and then he went in remission and then it came back recently. So he's dealing with that as well. Of course, I had invasive melanoma that started on the bottom of my foot. It went into my groin, and this latest round, it's gone into my lungs and a tumor in my brain that I actually had radiation on today. I just had a radiation treatment today. And so it's really kind of, when it metastasizes and moves quickly, I'm not sure where it's going to show up. And, I just hold on to hope every day and believe that God is not done with me yet. And there's a lot for me to do. And so I'm just here to inspire and encourage people. And that is part of what I'm doing. I'm speaking at the conference. I'm one of a handful of speakers that will be there, and just super excited to be there and be part of that. And Tim is an amazing friend. So I'm thankful to be able to do it.
Look, I did the mute thing. Papaw's using the computer. There you go. I get it. All right. So, yeah, Tim's an amazing guy. It doesn't take long to realize that. So, Russ wanted to give back, right? So you're not the type of guy, even if it's nobody's going to balk at it, but you want to give back. So you have
Yeah.
typically you have sponsors, and people love that. They get exposure. They got somebody of character like you out there. So, but you're gonna give that back to people who help you get out there to support others.
Right. Yeah.
Just
That's what
tell
I
us about
love.
that.
Yeah, I love the fact that I can give a lot of value. I mean, because this whole sponsorship thing is about a $700 value,
Yeah.
as far as visibility and advertising and all that we do through our live streams. Plus, we put up a special thank you ad that promotes your business, and we do all that. And the $150 is just a small amount that a little bit of each one of those gives me just a little bit to get back to New York and to be back in New York and all of that. And I'm like anybody, I'm a small business person. So I try to get creative, and it's really a win-win situation. The people that I love, they get their value and I get a little bit of value, and it's just good all the way around. Tim is, by the way, putting some information for everybody. Also, perspectivesoncancer.com is where you go to get information if you want to be part of this conference. And I just saw him putting that up right now. And also, information about one of the other speakers. It's on his show tonight at 5:30 my time and 8:30 Eastern. So I'm not trying to jump everybody. It's after this show's over, everybody. You want to be here now. But anyway, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, don't tell people to leave my show, Russ. Did you just
No,
do that?
no.
It's so
I
funny.
love your show, Mike. This is great. I love to be here.
Feel like there's no games coming on. Let's go to the Hounds of Business. I love it, y'all. Hey,
There
we
you
got to
go.
have fun. Hey, all right. So, Russ, I know you had a long day, brother. You're welcome to stay and hang out as long as you like to and leave. But hey, appreciate it. And Tim, thank you for sharing that, for showing up here. Guys, the way you all, not just the Hounds, man, just the people in the Hounds, your network and your community, Russ, the way they come together, unbelievable, brother. So, thank you
Can
for
I
that.
say
If
one
anybody,
thing? Can I say
yes,
one
sir.
thing before I go? I don't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to say, listen,
No, no.
everybody, this is what I want you to know. I'm always here to inspire and encourage you. Message me. I love LinkedIn Messenger, but also russhedge.com is my website. So you can go to that and get information about me. But I would love to connect with you, pray for you, encourage you. So if there's anything I can do, and let me just tell you that all that I'm going through with cancer, again, in my groin, my lungs, and my brain, um, even through that, there's hope. I know that there's a God who loves me that goes through it with me, but I am here, a community. We are better together, Mike, and you know that. We're better together. We come together. That's what the Hounds is all about. And I am here to encourage you and to be here for you. Don't feel sorry for me. Just be notice that you can make it in spite of whatever. And so please connect with me if we're not connected. And if you need anything or somebody to listen to or talk with, I'd love to be part of that. So thanks, Mike. I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, my pleasure. And I'm blowing my nose. I got a sinus infection today, so that's why I'm hitting with the mute button. But hey, I'm going to leave up the QR code. Anybody who wants to scan that throughout the show, go ahead. We'll leave it up there for you as long as possible. And man, appreciate you. So I'll tell you what, let's bring all these amazing ladies in here. Let's just throw them in here. Just no one at a time. Just open the gate. All right, who is that? There we go. Man, it's a packed house.
Hey, ladies.
So yeah, let's start with my good buddy. I've known her longer than anybody here. Rochelle, even though I known her, I can't say her name right to save my life. It's easy. Prosser, right? I did it right.
Yes.
How how are you today?
Yes.
Orchid Healthcare. All right. Love what
Yes.
you're all about. Tell the folks a little bit of your backstory. Uh, why you do what you do, why you became a an RN in oncology, and why you started this amazing business to really make a difference in survival rates and do amazing things. Go ahead.
Well, I'm a healthcare provider for 30 years as a neurotrauma ICU nurse. And unfortunately, along that path, after getting married and having children, both my husband and my youngest child were diagnosed with cancer at the same time. And my daughter had an extraordinarily rare disease, even though it had common origins. But because it was so aggressive and just completely a different strain, there were no answers. And she was only 3. So I'm dealing with family members in the dawn of life and in the dusk of life. When you're old and crotchety like we are, it's a hard choice. Not necessarily hard to say who I'm going to help, because of course I'm going to help the younger one, but who wants to have to choose the Russian roulette of life in having to choose which family member you're going to take care of? And came to realize that really this is more commonplace than not in vulnerable populations and people of color and just people in general. It's your grandmother and your parent, or it's your child and your aunt. We live in multi-level families, and this duplicity causes a lot of pain. Fortunately for me, it took 10 years to find a cure for her. And believe me, it was not easy. Had I not known how to navigate the healthcare system, it would have been just that much harder. And it was hard just navigating it as a healthcare provider itself and trying to find the appropriate answer and then trying to get the right thing. So I use the phrase cancer travel tourism. I live in Florida. There was nothing for my child. We had to leave. We were told to leave and don't come back. I don't know about you. That level of separation between families should never happen. It should never happen. And so Orchid Healthcare bore out of the survival of my family, of my husband and my daughter. Yeah, 10 years just for her. But my husband went through cancer twice. So it's actually 15 years of dealing with cancer. And now, because of COVID, my father is also now diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic prostate cancer. And so trying to find answers in the impossible. I'm not the type of person that goes down easy. And so I really believe in separating the two words and saying I'm possible in the impossible. And so Kayla went into complete remission April 18th of this year. And so my husband's alive. We're still married 25 years and keep going. My father's still going. And so to make sense of all of this, I had to start a company that would help others and give them the resources that I did not have access to or were even available for answers. And I think the best way that I could come up with was sharing the knowledge that I had in navigating the healthcare system, but more importantly, sharing the knowledge of what's out there in terms of the pharmaceutical industry. And when you just don't want to take chemo, what is the next step? So I met with a few officials, or a few officials heard me talking and challenging them to do better in oncology. And so they asked me to come up with an answer. And that answer was a cancer treatment library that houses all cancer treatments in one place. If you don't want chemo, we have an antibody, a targeted DNA, an immunotherapy, if or a pill that you can take work. Um, but if you can't swallow pills, then we go the opposite direction. It's really about treating the individual and the person in the way and manner that they deserve to be treated, and giving you options when you're in stage 3 metastatic disease or stage 4 metastatic disease, and removing the barriers such as the formulary, meaning the drugs or the opportunities that is afforded to you in the hospital that you chose to go to. And the other thing that confounds you is your zip code. Your actual municipality that you live in will actually dictate the treatment that you're allowed to have. And so I
Wow.
wanted to develop a tool that people can go to answers, not necessarily to cure, but at least to help you have a conversation with your healthcare provider, whether it's a doctor or as a nurse if you're in a rural community, but just to let you know what your options are and then give you the resources to get to therapy. So that's Orchid Healthcare Solutions. It's a cancer treatment library housed on a nursing um, electronic health record, because nurses are the ones that are the closest to patients. And if it wasn't for the nurses, I probably would be insane. So that's the honest to God truth. And so that's Orchid Healthcare Solutions. And check us out on orchidhealthcare.com. But most importantly, I'm just here to help foster that communications and help you to find answers where you're stuck. And Russ, it is so
Hey,
damn
thank
good
you.
to see you.
Yeah, it is. Hey, real I want folks to know you were just a nurse and a regular person with a family, and all the things that happened to you and around you drove you to say, "I'm going to do something about this." Right? Like you just and you
Yes,
work so hard day and night. You figuring it out. You're just going nonstop. My goodness, and the impact is already affecting people. It's already improving, survivor rates and already helping people navigate easy. So, yeah, everybody scan that
yes.
because if you don't have a use for it, somebody else does. So go tell everybody. Go tell people about this, and that's what we're here for. All these people here is amazing. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just know I can shine a spotlight on y'all and get other people to help. That's what I do. So, thank you so much for that. We're gonna go to Amber. Amber,
Yeah.
I met you, my gosh, at least 2 years ago, and,
Mhm.
you stuck around. I don't know, something, but you're a relatively normal lady, but you stuck around me, and that's good, so I'm glad you did.
For
Tell the
some
folks,
reason.
what's that?
For some reason.
For some reason, who knows? Don't question it, don't think about it. I don't
I,
want you to
I
go
don't
nowhere.
think about it at all.
So tell us about your background, why this is important to you, and what you do real brief.
Yeah. Yeah. So I became a nurse 20 years ago. Initially, it was so that I could go to Africa and work there as a missionary. And I did. I got there for about 5 months, did all kinds of fun nursing things like delivering babies and well baby clinics. I scrubbed in for surgeries. But when I came back to the States, I wasn't able to go back to Africa. And so I needed to kind of figure out, what am I doing? I'm going to go back 2 years before that. I um, graduated from nursing school, and I had to pick um, what department did I want to work in. One hospital was wanting me, and they had two options for me. One was orthopedics, and the other was their oncology unit. And I knew I didn't want the orthopedics, but the oncology unit scared the heck out of me. And so it's like, give me a few days, let me pray about it, and just need to figure out, if this is what I want to do. And that weekend, we found out that one of my mom's brothers had been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I kind of took it as a little sign that this is where I needed to go. And so I went ahead and took that oncology position. And for the last, let's see, I've been a nurse for 20 years. So 17 of those years, I worked in oncology. I was a chemotherapy nurse in a clinic for 8 years, worked with a lot of amazing patients. It was harder to leave them than it was my coworkers, but that was the truth. Um, when I left the clinic, I was a nurse educator at that time, and so I got to teach our nurses how to be excellent at what they do, and that was a joy. I love doing that. I was there for 6 years. I was in charge of our chemotherapy administration course, our oncology certification course. Just got to do so many different things with them, and making sure that they were, um, yeah, that they were being safe with our patients. Um, you know, there's nothing that I want to see more than our patients living through their treatments and getting the best care possible. In 2021, my husband passed away. He did not have cancer at the time. He was a cancer survivor, but at the time, he died from sepsis and from septic shock. And after he passed away, and I would teach in these chemotherapy classes, my platform for another year and a half after he died was to talk about sepsis and how important it was that those nurses coming into their new roles as oncology nurses, that they knew everything that there was to know about keeping their patients safe. um, and so that was my platform for a year and a half. It's still my platform now. I just don't get the opportunity to talk to nurses every day. um, but that's where I'm coming from, and that's where I want to keep talking about this. So thank you, Mike, for having us on here and being able to share.
Oh, my pleasure. I mean, so inspiring. I mean, you first of all, you ladies, well, everybody. Sorry, Russ. Everybody here had some kind of thing trying to keep them from coming on the show today, right? And it didn't happen. Oh yeah. So and Rochelle, she's on her phone, no power, all kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But that's what I mean. Anybody going through and dealing with cancer is tough as a honey badger, man. Y'all don't let nothing stop you. Go ahead,
And
Dan.
I just want to say that we didn't get a chance to talk about this beforehand, but um, my situation today was trying to get a mammogram scheduled, and that was so frustrating. I still don't have it scheduled. And so we can talk about this a little bit later, just about how access to cancer screenings, even for oncology nurses, is stressful and hard. So we can talk about that later. We need to talk about Jill now.
Oh, Jill, the floor is yours. And thank you, Amber, for introducing Jill to me. And didn't take her long to warm up with the hounds and get excited. And she has a great podcast and book. So, Jill, you know the drill. What's your background and why are you here and why do you do what you do?
Thank you so much, Mike, Amber, and Rochelle. It's hard to follow both of you up. You're both amazing people, and I'm loving watching the comments run by. Um, so I've been a nurse for a really long time. I'm not going to say how long, but it's it's a long time, and I've had my OCN like Amber does for over a decade, meaning oncology certified nurse, and I've been in inpatient and outpatient with that, and also emergency room and critical care. And all of those have come together to drive my perspective on things, as well as being in oncology navigation and oncology case management, where I've had to find resources for people who did not have resources so that they could have access to treatment. A lot like what Rochelle was talking about, I'm very sensitive to access issues. And also, from a non-clinical perspective, I've been a cancer support group facilitator for over 5 years. And I heard things there that you don't hear in the clinic setting in terms of being able to advocate for yourself. I also saw things happen as a navigator and as a case manager where you see the entire continuum of care that could have been avoided, where things fell through gaps that were unintentional. Rochelle's nodding her head. Were unintentional, but they still happen. That if people understood what their, I've actually been a nurse for over 35 years, but I've had my OCN for over 10 years. But anyway, it really, seeing those gaps that could have been avoided if people understood their treatment plan. I'm not putting the onus back on the patient at all, but if they'd known when to call, if they'd known when the next switch was going to happen. And Russ, you probably know what I'm talking about when you're moving to a different modality in your treatment. It If you know when those switches are supposed to happen, you can stay on top of things. If you know when you're supposed to be having your next CT scan, you can help stay on top of things and make sure that you are getting optimal care. And also being involved in shared decision making is huge, because if you know what's important to you and you know what is keeping you from doing what's important to you, whether it is your symptoms or your treatment or symptoms from your treatment or your survivorship symptoms, and you can have a conversation with your physician, a knowledgeable conversation with your oncologist or whoever you're working with your symptom management on, then you can get back to what's important to you. I felt that working with people in a content creation modality, which is what I'm doing right now, I could reach a lot more people than I could as a nurse in a navigation or case management setting. So I decided to take the leap and enter content creation. So that's why I now have my podcast, Everything Cancer. And that's why I wrote my book, Cancer Journey Guide and Journals, Empowerment in Diagnosis, Treatment, and Beyond. And I make myself accessible through those mediums, and I'm working through writing grants to continue that accessibility. I love teaming up with people like Rochelle. I've learned so much from her. She's become an amazing mentor to me, and Amber has been a great mentor to me as well. And I'm just thrilled to be here and to be able to talk about this.
Oh, absolutely. My goodness. So let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and get questions, and ladies, chat. Feel free to chime in on the same questions. Right. I just want you guys to have a spotlight to educate folks who are going through it, who have something to do with it, maybe a loved one or they themselves. And I want to encourage everybody out there, connect with them. Find them on LinkedIn. Okay, connect with them. Go to their website when we put it on the screen, and use that not just for you, but for resources. I have a neighbor of mine. In fact, I saved her life. I didn't talk about that, but she has it, and I'm like, hey, I know a lady. I got a friend of mine, and she's like, hey, yeah, hook me up. So this is the most positive gossip you could ever accomplish, right? So let me ask you. Let's start with Rochelle.
Mhm.
How has your experience, as healthcare professional and having family members with cancer, how has that influenced your approach to, cancer care navigation? Because it's not common.
So, the big truth is that people go into healthcare because they want to help people, period. End of statement. We don't go in there because we want to hurt people. We don't go in there because we want to have miscommunications or, they have a godlike complex. None of that. They go in there with the intent to do no harm. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work like that, as in the way that you intend. And even though you can do all the things right, it can still come out wrong and still be a barrier or still be an impediment. And when you're on the other side, the receiving end of healthcare delivery, it comes in like a crashing thunderclap as to what actually is missing and what makes sense and what doesn't. And so one of the things as I went through the process, I'm very process oriented, but most importantly, I'm a solutions oriented person because I do data. I'm a data scientist. I'm a legal nurse consultant. There's a whole other aspect to me. What I didn't realize is that I really love health policy. And so, in trying to learn where to make a difference, you try to do it at the bedside, it may or may not work. You try to do it as an administrator, it may or not work. You try to do it as a business owner, and you can only do so much with the tools that are afforded to you. And then you try to do it because you just love humanity and you're just bound and determined to make a change. And so that's where health policy came in. And that's the lens that I think of, because at least then I can protect people or speak up on behalf of people that don't have a voice in a more impactful way by understanding what the health policies and the laws that are being created, whether at your state or municipal or federal level, and how it affects you and how it affects your care team, because those dollars are spent in a certain way at the municipal level, meaning right from your taxes. And so in understanding how it affects people, you can then speak up in protection, ensure that the voiceless have a say, are protected by the laws that are created. And if that isn't happening, you can speak up about it and ensure that they are. So that I didn't realize that I had an affinity for that and enjoy doing that. Um, but it allows a larger platform to be heard for the sake of patient voices and to make sure that they are a relevant member of the care delivery team, not that care is being delivered to them.
Yeah, let me chime in real quick because I know all of you ladies have that in common. You're professionals, but it impacts you personally. And that to
Mhm.
me, like, how can you get any better? Like, you know what people are going through, and that's where
Mm.
you use your expertise to help them navigate. This is absolutely life changing. Anything to add, ladies?
I'd just like to add that Rochelle really knows her stuff, and her legal nurse consulting background has lets her be able to interpret what is happening in the legislative process. I am so impressed by her breadth of knowledge, and then also how she holds the other people around her accountable in that policy making and legislative process. I am so glad she's there representing us.
Well, I have big
No.
shoes to fill. I'm not there alone. I usually speak to all these ladies here and listen to the patients that I have that I'm taking care of, and then those of us that are going through something. All of your voices matter, and you all deserve to be heard. And if anything that has taught us is the last few years of what's great about healthcare and what's not so great, and what we can do to change that and how we can be impactful. I think now people are living longer with cancer, which wasn't necessarily something to be said 4 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago. But also, most importantly, is we all have to come together and be part of this process. Cancer treatment is now turning into something that is more targeted for the individual person. And then they look wider and broader to see, is there anyone else that have the same type or characteristic of the cancer? And so cancer is such an equal opportunity offender. It's truly DEI when you think about it. And it doesn't care how much money you have, doesn't care where you are, what municipality you live, how much money you have, what size house. It just doesn't matter. It'll take you out if you don't represent and really take and pay attention to it. And so because of
Mhm.
that, we all have to come together. And
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Dadgummit. All right. So, Christine, is that Skippy, the kangaroo? Maybe she's chewing on the internet wires. All right, if you watch this show long enough, you know what that means. All right, let's go on to Jill. Let me ask you. You have a book, and I don't know anything about anything. I help a lot of people with the healthcare and the visibility and cancer, but y'all talk like I know what you're doing. But I've heard amazing reviews. Like, this book is really unbelievable. So share some insights about your book and, from the book about how it does empower patients and their diagnosis and treatment.
So I was a guest on a podcast last week by of a physician, an oncologist who's also a survivor, and that podcast will be dropped soon. And she said, "This is the only book you'll ever need if you are a new patient, newly diagnosed. The first 42 pages are specific steps. Amber just got her copy today, and I'll send you a copy, Mike. The first 42
Thank
pages are specific steps on how to advocate for yourself. They are very simply put. They are meant to not be overwhelming because you're already overwhelmed. And then the latter pages are guided journals. And there's 20 of them, which sounds like a lot. But when you think about you're going to have questions for your doctor, you're going to have important conversations with your doctor about what's important to you, you're going to have important conversations about what's important to you with your family. You're going to be having conversations with your insurance company like Amber did today. You're going to be having conversations with your HR and leave administrator that impact your life, your income. You are going to be needing to keep track of your financial assistance that you receive and when you need to renew it, and you need to know what your next steps are. These journals help you keep track of all of that. And so, right. So that's how this book is set up.
My goodness. That's it. Look, I heard, listen, all y'all do amazing things, not just in the sector. This is what blows me away. When do you have time to write a book? See that? I know the answer. You don't have time to write a book.
You
Rochelle don't
don't.
have time to. Yeah. So what made you do it anyway?
Because of everything I saw as a navigator, as a case manager, as a nurse, and as a support group facilitator, I was driven to do this, to help others and to help others be able to advocate effectively for themselves and empower themselves and enter the shared decision making, the absolutely shared decision making with their oncologists and with their family members. It's really important to be able to speak knowledgeably to what you have going on with yourself, and also to know what credible sources are to use when you're entering those conversations. And this book guides you through all of that without overwhelming you. So it has gotten really good reviews. I'm trying to get the word out there about it. I'm also working on grant requests regarding the content in the book to be able to work with more people with the content in the book to help them learn how to advocate for themselves. The podcast kind of segues into that. And I started the podcast as a way to market the book, but it has become a labor of love. Everything Cancer podcast. And it truly is it's an empowering podcast. I'm all about empowering people. It is evidence-based information. I'm very careful of the guests I curate because I want the information on there to be evidence-based. If I have a healthcare team member on, someone from a cancer support organization, someone like Rochelle on, that is important to me. Thank you, Jen. Empowerment is so important. It is so it's a hard thing to do when you feel uncomfortable and when you feel like you don't have knowledge. And I've had people tell me that this book gives them empowerment. And there's a lot of tips and tricks in the book too on how to gain that courage and empowerment. So about half the guests are survivors, and the other half are a combination of healthcare team members and and then also people from cancer support organizations, all there to tell the real story of what it's like to be a survivor, but also to offer practical and accessible tips and tricks on how to get through this and to inspire people and to empower people.
Wow. That says it all. Thank you all in the comments, all the people supporting and bringing other people in. You all are absolutely amazing. And hey, Dr. CJ, our publicity queen, right? Level Up Academy. John Kessler, also a hound, cancer survivor and coach. And my goodness, I mean, just so many people just doing amazing things, which leads me to Amber Williams, who, even though she had a monstrous, crazy day, has showed up to help others. My goodness. So let me get to cut right to the chase. As a nurse, right? transitioned and also helping in life coaching, right? So you help people in life coaching with this. How do you apply your nursing experience, to your work in the grief recovery for cancer patients and families? Explain that to us.
Mm. So with coaching, there's a lot of it is, we're asking the questions, and we're trying to help people come up with their own answers, right? um, but sometimes they don't have the answers, and so when we talk about health coaching, having that nursing background has really been very helpful. As a nurse, I was doing life and health coaching um, with my patients. We talked about life things. We talked about uh, obviously their health and their nutrition and those kinds of things. And then adding in the grief aspect now is, uh, I've been there where I lost my husband. I was with him when he died. I um, I was the caregiver for him, and so with that, like, I can definitely, help relate to the, those who have lost family members, to cancer. And um, I mentioned my one uncle who had was diagnosed back in 2004. Right after him, another uncle was diagnosed, and then a sister, or one of their sisters, and there were 9 kids in the family, so lots of lots of them. But the oldest 5 of my mom's brothers and sisters have all had cancer,
Mhm.
and one of them, actually, my aunt, another aunt, is dealing with treatments with breast cancer right now. um, she was just diagnosed last year, and so, I get it. It's My dad had prostate cancer, and it just all these things. We have these in our families, and when when our family members don't make it, because not everybody does, and unfortunately, it's a truth. Um, and so we need that help. We need that support of somebody who gets it,
Mhm.
and that's where I want to come in at that point too.
Mhm. Amber, I just want to applaud you. Cancer is not easy. It's not easy going through it and being a patient. It is definitely not easy standing at the sidelines and watching your loved one go through a journey, beat cancer, and then have something else take them out. I would go insane. I really, there's a whole mental health aspect to it that we're
Oh,
not talking about today. We need
yeah.
to. And it just one thing to remind folks on this call here, you know, although we understand that healthcare is imperfect, but the person on the receiving end, the doling out end, is also a human being as well, and they may be bringing some of that grief, some of that pain in their own private life, going through a struggle with their own family member dealing with cancer as well, that we just don't bring to the bedside because we're trying to be
Mhm.
professional and try to help you. And so we're your biggest cheerleaders. We really want to do the best. And sometimes we are ill articulate, not inarticulate, ill articulate to say that, especially when things don't go the way we would anticipate and want to. Um, and so I
And
want to be mindful that we're all in that struggle together to
yeah.
work together. And so I applaud you for sharing this. Amber, go
Thank
ahead.
you.
You want to say
Um,
something?
I I think I don't know how many other healthcare professionals are in the audience, but it is important that we understand where our strengths and weaknesses, and where we need to set those boundaries. Um, you know, After Carl died, like I said, I was still at the hospital for a year and a half. Um, I The way that this hospital is set up, I was in the cancer hospital, which 21 floors at this at the James Cancer Hospital, and um, the hospital where Carl died in the heart hospital was adjacent to that. Like it kind of T-boned into the cancer hospital. And um, and so I walked by that hall for another year and a half. And after a while, it was like, okay, I just tried not to go walk in the front doors um, of the heart hospital. But I also knew that it was time to go. Like I didn't being in that environment just was not right for me anymore. And so that's part of setting those boundaries and knowing where my strengths and weaknesses were. As much as I wanted to be helping other nurses, I knew that for myself it was time to do something different.
No, I totally hear you. And for those, I'm reading the comments, and I am just a cheerleader for all of you that are going through it. Matt, that's a lot. That's a lot. And Ollie, hats off to you with helping your family. And all of those on here that are making comments about losing family members and walking them through that process. I don't think you ever get past that, the loss and the pain of that. You just start living the day. And at some point we have to get to a point of existing, right? Not just existing, but finding joy. And so if there's something that I can give to you, is to say, look back through the memories of all that you've gone through with that individual, even the hard moments. I mean, for my daughter, it was important for me through that time period to just make her laugh. If I could just make her laugh for the day, then I did my job. And so if you can look through all of that pain to find moments when you were sitting down and having those lucid moments of conversation where you could just giggle a little bit or see a little spark in their eye, string those moments together and hold on to those for dear life. So, and hopefully that will help. And I'm going to let Jill speak because I know she has something to share.
Well, Rochelle, thank you for being so eloquent. And Amber, I am filled. My heart is brimming with appreciation for your courage, because that takes a lot of courage to face what you have been facing, and also to enter it with being a life coach. And you are pulling on your experience, but that's a hard experience right now still for you to pull on. But for you to give back out of it, I applaud you and thank you. Nursing is a calling, and you're still answering that calling through what you're doing here, and also through teaching. You're continuing to teach. For those of you who don't know, Amber's doing a lot of tutoring and is entering teaching. So what I hear a lot from the people in my support group and in the one-on-one interviews in my podcast that has really resounded with me is find beauty in every day. And they didn't notice that beauty before they became ill. And they now appreciate it and they grasp onto it, as Rochelle said, and that has become so important to them. And they really make it a point to stop every day and look about them to find beauty. And for many of them, through their toughest and darkest times, that became their coping mechanism, was to find something beautiful to grasp onto, is what many of them have shared in their podcast interviews, and also our survivors. Homer, you're talking about laughter is still the best medicine. I actually have a chapter of puns at the end of my book, because laughter can be the best medicine. There are times when family conversations can get contentious, and if you can pull out a good pun and break the tension in the air, sometimes you can hit the reset button with those and say, we need to pause and kind of get everybody loving each other again. Or if you have an oncologist that won't smile, you can challenge yourself to get them to laugh.
Yes, you can.
And
You're having a bad day.
and you can relieve yourself with, if you're having a bad day, like Amber said. But there's so much, and that another piece of really a cornerstone. There's two cornerstones of self advocacy, three actually I can think of. Write down your questions for your doctor as soon as you think of them. Keep a journal and keep them in the same place. As soon as you think of them, write them down. And then take them with you to your appointment so you don't forget them. Keep track of your symptoms, because in another part of that same journal, my book is there. It'll help you do it. But if you just want to spend $1 at Walmart, I'm good with that. Keep it in the same place in your journal. Track your symptoms, because when you read those symptoms off in front of your doctor, in front of your oncologist or whoever you're seeing, it's real data to them, and they pay serious attention to it. And I actually just interviewed an oncologist this past week who's shared the same thing with me. That means the world to them. Take responsibility for your healthcare decisions. Take responsibility for eating clean food, good food, getting good sleep, and exercising while you're being treated. That is another pillar of self-advocacy, is doing your part to remain healthy through this process.
And sometimes
Wow.
bringing someone with you will also help you get through those questions that you forget to ask. I know I had to do that, and I work in healthcare. So don't be afraid to ask. There's never a silly question, and you should never get a silly answer.
Wow, look, everybody got quiet. Like, hey, look, listen, I'm just here to give you spotlight. This is amazing. I'm just sitting here smiling like a little cheese ball because I see all the love and the support. People that are here, they're not here for me, they're here for you all, man. And that is amazing. So thank you all for showing up, loving on these amazing people. They do so much behind the scenes. You guys don't see it. And it is an absolute honor to be able to showcase you guys what you do for other people because they need it. And it's sad. It's man, what goes on behind the screen, behind the closed doors, you all know that. You're professionally trained, you've innovated, and you care. What else could you want? So let me ask you all this because I know we're getting close to the time. Um, and remember, hey, Jill's got her book and podcast. All right. Rochelle has Orchid Healthcare Solutions. All right. And we talked about that. Go back and watch the replay. I'll make some short videos. We'll make sure people know. We'll post about it. And Amber, she not only is a nurse, she helps coach people, all right, through this, families and support. So hey, don't do this alone. Amateurs do stuff. Hey, go find you an expert. My goodness, don't do this alone. So let me ask you all a general question and then we'll wrap up. We'll have to have a part two. This is just too much. So let me ask you this. Well, can you share, and we'll start with whoever wants. We'll just throw it out there like a pork chop and let y'all fight over it. How about that? So can you share some effective strategies for self-advocacy that cancer patients and their families can use?
Take
Go
a
for it,
deep
Jill.
breath.
You're supposed to be vicious. Cut each other off. Come on. Nice. Go
Get
ahead,
a
nice
lot of
ladies.
get good sleep. Get good
Yeah.
sleep. Sleep is so important.
Take a deep breath before speaking, and
Yes.
and do not be deterred by the answer of no. No could be yes if you keep asking. Most times we try not to say no because we just don't want you to get hurt. So if it's a no, keep asking and take a deep breath.
Ooh, mine is do not go to Dr. Google.
Yes.
Do not.
Yeah. Come to my library. Don't go to Dr. Google.
There you go. Yeah, because you will find all kinds of things, and you're going to find some really crazy things out there that are just not going to be helpful.
No.
And I know I use the word crazy, but some of it's just odd and not right.
No, any medically trained person would say no, don't do that, right? That's what
yeah.
I mean.
And
That's
I gotta
crazy.
tell you, I am all about integrative therapy. Like, use the honey to help with mouth sores, use ginger to help with nausea or anxiety. But there are some things out there that you can spend a lot of money on snake oil, really.
Yeah.
So talk to the professionals who can help you.
So there are actual integrative oncologists out there, and so you need to find them. There's a whole section of them that have been doing this for years, and I think also there's a time and a place for preventative medicine. When you have stage 4, stage 3 cancer, that's not the time for preventative medicine. It's not the time for preventative integrative medicine. You need to do both to help you through it and do recovery, just as Jill said, eat healthy, be healthy, and make smart decisions.
Yep.
Wow. Let me see it because I know people need this and I want to make sure they see it. So what are some of the most valuable resources, things out there that people can access, right? Other than you, obviously connect with these ladies, right? Don't be crazy. But what are some things that people could go that are credible that you could maybe recommend or suggest, right, in passing for people who are newly diagnosed with cancer? So they just got the news.
Mm-hmm.
I like the American Cancer Society, and then
Mm-hmm.
I also like I'm trying to find it, and Rochelle has her library, which is amazing. And then we also have I'm so sorry, but anyway, Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, American Cancer Society, Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and then anything that's a disease-based site, so such as the American Lung Association, No Stomach for Cancer, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go to the National Cancer Institute.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of resources, and try to parse it down in a way that you can understand it, so that you can see what the different classifications and what it means. Most importantly, to help you understand what your definition of cancer is. So the other one is the National Comprehensive Cancer Network, and they give guidelines on how you should be treated. But understand, those are the ones that we know what it's supposed to be. Most people are in the realm where they don't have an answer. So going to other organizations that actually are regulated sites, that look to give education and resources. And if they're promising you a full 100% cure, run in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with all of those. The American Cancer Society, you can actually, I think you can still order, you know, books that, are on, nutrition hints. That was actually my favorite book to give patients, because it had some great ideas for, how to manage your appetite while you were in treatment. So, yeah.
You ladies are fantastic. I would go to midnight, but then no one would come back. So I tell you what, hey, and this right here, I, I need to get on this. All right, St. Jude walk run. This is near and dear to everybody's heart, but Rochelle, because this is her area, and we had the pleasure of interviewing the co-chair for the walk run at St. Jude, Miami. And guys, hey, this is virtual, in person. If you want to be a part of the solution, you're able to. Hey, donate, bring folks in on it. Very honored to do this, and this is the most giving bunch I've ever seen in my life. So I wanted to make sure you guys saw that. Thanks for those who contributed already. And I will leave that up there for a little bit. And if you miss any of this, you want to DM me, DM any of these folks on the panel. We will be more than happy to connect you. Okay. So let's bring it up. All right.
Yeah. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I was just going to say, so September is Pediatric Oncology Awareness Month, and St. Jude is definitely what we need to be, one of those organizations that helps with that. So
Oh,
yeah.
who does? I mean, honestly, if I met somebody in like St. Jude, man, I'll be running like I'm on fire. I'll be like, wow, that's crazy. That's like saying I'm on cancer side. Like, come on now. That's something we can all be behind. And this is what I love about it. We can all get behind it. You said it earlier in the beginning, right? It doesn't matter where you're from, background, ethnicity. Nobody cares. We're people. And there's nothing but a sober reminder when you have cancer or you have friends and loved ones with it that we're people. All right. So thank you, ladies, for all your heart. Jill, we'll start with you. Where can folks find you? Where's the best way for them to connect with you?
Either on LinkedIn or through the Everything Cancer podcast. There is a link to my book in both places. Would love to see you guys.
Wonderful. Amber, Great, Amber. Thank you for all your challenges of the week and the day being here. You're a trooper. Uh, Guys, seriously, if you know people who can utilize or just learn from her, go. Don't be shy. All right, Amber, go
Thank
ahead.
you.
Where they
Yeah,
find you?
find me on LinkedIn. That's
That's
where I
it.
am.
That's where she hangs out. That's where I chase her around all the time. So you just find me chasing somebody, it'd be Amber. Y'all connect with her. All right. And then Christine's kangaroo done got Rochelle again.
Yeah.
So all right. I'll speak for Rochelle. She don't mind. You know, Orchid Healthcare Solutions.com, or go with Rochelle Prosser. See, I always mess it up. I told y'all. All right, Prosser. And connect with her. DM me. I will connect you guys. And thank you all so much. Seriously, everyone here. There she is. I done
There's
spoke for you, but
Yeah,
go ahead, do it yourself.
yes, you can find
But
me
where
on
can
all social media, LinkedIn. It's Orchid Healthcare Solutions. Orchid is a flower, solutions with an S. And the cancer treatment library can be found on orchidcancercare.com. Orchidcancercare.com. Register, and I'll be there waiting for you to help you in whatever way and manner that I can.
Awesome. And we brought the lovely Jen Lynn up. Thank you so much for running the backstage or learning all this stuff. The audience absolutely appreciate it. I know the panelists do. So anything you would like to add, young lady, before we leave?
I just want to say how incredibly inspiring each and every single one of you are, and in on the panel, and also in the comments, and all of the support, and all of you are just amazing. And go to bed tonight knowing that there truly is nothing that can stop you or stand in your way of anything that you want to experience in this life. And when we pull together, especially in community, there's absolutely nothing that's not within our grasp. So thank you, ladies, for all that you do in pulling that community together and being the advocate. I find the strongest, most beautiful advocates are always the ones that are going through it themselves or who have absolutely 100% been there. And that's a tough call sometimes. So thank you for just simply being.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Man, my goodness.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Hey, no strays out there. If you're trying to connect with a community that can push you up, work and collaborate with amazing people and drop the sales pitches and practice reciprocity, dadgummit, what are you waiting for? And if it's not a good fit, I'll walk you somewhere that is. We don't have an ego in this. You have amazing impact to make in this world. And if you don't have the resources and the people to push you up, it'll probably never happen. And that's a dadgum shame, because all this stuff we complain about, you have more power to do something about than you know. So, hey, join. If this didn't get it, I don't know what's going to. So, hey, team up. Man. This is not about us. This is about the greater good and the good things that we could do together. Thank you, ladies, for being who you are, what you do. And it's an honor to be your friend and to help you in any way. And we're going to end on that. Hey, next week, all right, hey, we're gonna do this. Papa lost the buttons again. Dadgummit. All right. So we got Transformation Kitchen, all right, founder of HR4U, Chasing Forehand, is gonna be on here. Amazing. When I was in the nonprofit sector, real quick, I was the only one in the region that would say, hey, how about we do something to help people be self-sufficient? Because a lot of people want to be. They're doing it. Oh man, they're doing it on a level like I can't wait for this to be copied. It will be. So, Jason, thank you for what you do. Cannot wait to have you on next week. Ladies, you're amazing. Hounds, you show up like no other. Thank you for the support, for not just me, but for each other. So we'll catch you on the next one. Ladies, don't leave. All right, we'll be right back in the backstage. So let's roll this intro, outro. I'll get it, Jen Lynn. I can figure it out. All right. Be good. Wave. Do the princess wave. Be fancy. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.